Yeah, good morning, early start. Good afternoon, early start. How are you? Hope all your hands are clean. Now we're outside and we're in a part of Dublin called Kilmainham, which is very near to Inchicore. So I want you to look over there. And over there, boys and girls, is Kilmainham Jail, right? Now, a long time ago, oh, you wouldn't believe this, but the King and Queens of England weren't very nice to people in Ireland and Dublin, and they wanted to be the bosses of us. Yeah, they were our bosses, and people in Dublin and Ireland didn't like them being the bosses of us. So in, I think it was 1916, which is over 100 years ago, right? All the people in Dublin, well, not all, but some people in Dublin and in Ireland decided, no, we're going to rise up and fight back. And it lasted for about a week, and when it was over, boys and girls, look, they were all put into that prison over there. They were, yeah. And then you wouldn't believe it, that the British people were so angry that they took some of them, 15 of them, and they shot them. Yeah. So we're here in a statue. You can look there and you can see a statue for each of the 15 people who died. And if you look, you can see their blindfolds on. Look at that, isn't that amazing? Up at the top, yeah. And 15 of them were killed. Anyway, nowadays, Kilmainham Jail is no longer a jail. It's actually a museum. And even though it's a museum, they still call it a jail, which is a bit confusing. So you can go in there and you can visit the prison, and you can see the places where the cells where they kept the prisoners. But we can't go in at the moment because of the stupid coronavirus, and everything is closed at the minute. But maybe someday we might go and visit that prison, okay? Brilliant. Now, Kilmainham Jail, not a very nice place. Look how tall the wall must be. If you're on the inside, look, it goes up, and you can never hardly see the sky. Now, listen, when my nana was small, you never guess what she used to do. When the people were locked inside this prison, look up there now, when they were, do you know what she did? Her and her friends, and they were only kids, they used to come down here and they used to try and throw food over the wall into the prisoners. Imagine that. And then they'd be shooed away by the guards. It's very sad. Girls, can you see there's the door into Kilmainham? It's got a big cage door in front of it too, and if you look above the door you can see like a dragon twisted around the sugar above the lamp there. And did you know, boys and girls, sometimes children were put in this prison? Yeah, sometimes children were, and some of them as young as 8, and one child was put in there, and you know what he's put in jail for? He was put in there because he was hungry and he stole some bread, and then they put him in jail. Isn't that terrible? Now, if you look at this door here, right, this wooden door, and behind that wooden door is a courtyard, and it's called the Stone Courtyard. And I told you about the 15 people who were shot. Well, they would have been shot on the other side of that door, and when they were killed, these doors would have opened and they would have been taken out of the prison, their bodies, and they were buried in another jail which isn't too far from Finglas, called Harbour Hill. So, very scary place to visit, wouldn't it? But I'd still like to go and see it, and maybe one day when we're all back to normal, you and all of us will all go and visit the Kilmainham Jail. Now, hiya boys and girls. Now, you look over there, we're outside another building, and that building is, well, it used to be Kilmainham Courthouse, and that's what it's still called, Kilmainham Courthouse. Now, if you were a bold person, you could be brought to Kilmainham Courthouse, and if they found you guilty, that means you did something. You could be sent all the way over there into Kilmainham Jail, which I told you about earlier, didn't I? Yeah. Now, Kilmainham's a very strange place, because I just told you about the jail, which is not a jail anymore, it's a museum, and the courthouse, well, it's not a courthouse anymore, it's a museum. So Kilmainham is a bit strange. They name buildings after things that they aren't anymore. They name things after that they were, I suppose. So Kilmainham Courthouse, it's not a courthouse, is a museum, and Kilmainham Jail is not a jail, it's a museum. It's all a bit confusing. Now, boys and girls, we're outside a hotel here, the Hilton Hotel, and there's other buildings down there, all the way down there. Now, these are nice new buildings, but you know what used to be there before those buildings, will I tell you? There used to be a chocolate factory, yeah. But the chocolate factory closed down, and they knocked it down, and they built all these new buildings instead. So, if you look at this side over here, we have the old buildings up to Kilmainham Jail, and on this side, we've got modern buildings, brand new ones. I think I prefer the old ones, but I tell you what I do prefer. I prefer the chocolate factory. I'd love to go back in there again. Now, good morning, boys and girls. Here I am again, and we're outside another place in Kilmainham which has a name but it's not the building that it is, even though its name says it's something. It's actually something else. So if you look across the road there, there's a gate there, and that's where Kilmainham Hospital is. Now, look at me back here. It's not a hospital anymore. No, it's actually a gallery where you can go and see lots of pictures, and there's lovely gardens in there you can walk around. But if you look at the tower, it looks a bit like Rapunzel's tower. Oh, amazing. And you can see the gate. Now, unfortunately, because of the stupid coronavirus, it's closed and we can't go in. But maybe someday, when we're all back together, we might all go on a trip into the gallery and have a look. So, Kilmainham Hospital, not a hospital, it's a gallery. Now, boys and girls, if you look that way, we were up there yesterday, and that's where the river Liffey was. And then if you look down that way, where you can see the Circle K garage down there, and that's where the canal is. Now have a spin around here and have a look. This place is usually packed with people coming to Ireland on their holidays, the tourists, yeah, and it's usually crowded, but not today. Now one of the games I always play when I'm down here is I play the sweet and sour game. And what that game is lots of tourists, they come on special buses. I don't know if you ever saw them, they're red and they're green, and they have no rules, and they sit in them and they drive all around Dublin. Anyway, we play sweet and sour, and what that is, right, you wave at the buses, like that, and if the people on the bus wave back, they're sweet. And if they don't wave back, they are sour. Yeah. So that's called the sweet and sour game. Now it's not that bus, no, not that one. They're special buses, and I think the buses are cancelled now because of the stupid coronavirus, so I can't play my sweet and sour game here. Hey, yeah, that's finished our walk around Kilmainham, and that's the places that are near where I live, Inchicore, Kilmainham and Island Bridge, and every place has a story. The buildings have a story, and the parks and the places and the rivers, they all have stories. And that's where we get the word history from. That means things that happened in the past, and they are stories. And you have a story too, and you can tell your story to other people, and maybe you can ask your mommy or your dad to tell you their story where they grew up, and maybe your nana and your granddad can tell their stories as well, and other people can tell you all their stories, because we all have stories. And when we get back to early start, we'll have lots of stories to tell each other, won't we? Anyhow, I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye, you big noodles.